As we turn the pages of history, look closely at the details and folds, and you will find stories unlike any other stories, with secrets that were born with their owners and buried with them, keeping researchers and scientists in a whirlpool of research and mystery. Our story is about a woman who lived the strangest life since she was young. Trust me, this woman will baffle and astonish you. She was born in the West, but she died in the East. And the reason is strange. Her name and secret are linked to one of the most interesting peoples throughout the ages, to the point that she was nicknamed after one of their kings. The little girl, Dorothy Eddy, was born on January 16th, 1904, in London. The little girl lived like any normal girl until she was 3 years old. But here, our strange story begins. While playing in her family's house, the little girl fell down the stairs. Then the family doctor arrived and announced her death as a result of the fall. The doctor left the family in a state of shock and went to bring the death certificate. When he returned after an hour, the family was also in complete shock. The strange thing is that the girl was sitting completely healthy without any harm on her bed, which also shocked the doctor. But the strangest thing is that the girl began to utter strange words that were incomprehensible to everyone around her. The strangest thing of all is that the first thing the girl uttered after regaining consciousness was an extremely strange sentence. "I want to go home." The girl started doing strange things and speaking in a language that was not understood by everyone around her. In addition to that, she was always talking about the ancient Egyptian religion and comparing it to her family's Christian religion, which caused her a lot of trouble with her family. When she reached the age of 7, Dorothy showed interest in ancient Egyptian civilization and its pharaohs in her childhood. She always said that her homeland contained a huge building with tall columns and a garden full of fruits. Her obsession with Egyptian civilization prompted her family to take her to any exhibition related to Egyptian civilization. One day, while she was with her family on a visit to an Egyptian exhibition, Dorothy ran between the Egyptian statues and kissed their feet while shouting, "These are my people." The strangest thing is that when she saw a picture of the temple of Seti I in the city of Abydos in Egypt, she told her family with full confidence that this place was her home and asked about the reason for the wreckage and about the lost garden. Remember this garden well. The strangest thing of all is that when she saw a picture of the mummy of Pharaoh Seti, she recognized him directly by name and said that she knew him personally. All this happened to a child of 7 years old. This obsession made her learn hieroglyphics very quickly because she simply told her teacher that she knew this language, but she forgot how to read it. This obsession remained with Dorothy and even worsened when she told her family that she saw King Seti in her dream. And he told her that someone from hell found a way out. Even more than that, she saw in her dream that she and a group of Egyptian women were lying on straw mats in a large room, and a man holding a lamp in his hand made sure that each girl was in her place. In another dream, she saw herself being subjected to severe interrogation, and she refused to talk and was beaten. Remember this dream also. The development of this matter led to her being admitted to a psychiatric hospital. But all the doctors confirmed that the girl was in a completely good condition and did not suffer from any mental illness. The doctors could not explain the matter, except that it was an obsession with old stories and would end with time. At the age of 27, Dorothy began working as a cartoonist for an Egyptian magazine. Fate played its game, and she met the person who was the reason for her arrival to Egypt. This person was the student and later professor, Imam Abdel Majid. Yes, he was an Egyptian. What happened was that Dorothy married Imam and moved with him to Egypt in 1931. When Dorothy arrived in Egypt, she kissed the ground and kept repeating, "I have arrived home." The family settled in Cairo, and Dorothy quickly adapted to her new surroundings. These strange dreams continued with Dorothy, who became the mother of a child whom she named Seti, and later became known as Seti, which means Mother of Seti in English. To this extent, Dorothy did not know what was happening to her until Horus Ra began to visit her in her dreams and tell her about her previous life. Horus Ra told her that in her previous life, she had a soldier father and a vegetable seller mother. Her name was Pentri Shet, meaning the lyre of joy. After her mother died, her father presented her to the temple because he was unable to take care of her. There, she grew up as a priestess of the temple until the white Egyptian girl with the blue eyes caught the attention of the young king. Did you know which king? Yes, it was King Seti I who was visiting the temple. The forbidden relationship between the girl and the king developed until it reached the point of the girl becoming pregnant by the king. The high priest interrogated the girl, who refused to speak and confess the identity of her lover, which exposed her to severe beatings. Does this remind you of anything? Yes, it is that dream. After much torture, the girl confessed that the king was her lover, but she was afraid that the king would be exposed to a public scandal, and fearing that she would be accused of breaking the priest's vows, the girl committed suicide inside the temple. Here, Dorothy understood that what was happening to her was a case of reincarnation, or a case similar to the transmigration of souls. In 1935, Dorothy and her husband divorced because her husband decided to travel to Iraq, and Dorothy, of course, would not leave the house after she finally arrived there. Dorothy worked with many Egyptologists who in turn had great respect for her, and she amazed them with her knowledge of the details of ancient Egyptian life. She was loved by everyone in her environment because she provided services to everyone, and she was an expert in ancient Egyptian medicine and treated many residents of the area, which gained her great fame in the area in which she lived. In addition, she respected the Islamic and Christian religions of the people of the area, although she had completely converted to the ancient Egyptian religion. She spent most of her time performing prayers and rituals of her own, and spent her nights in front of the pyramids, especially the Great Pyramid. In 1956, the project in which Dorothy was working as an assistant to archaeologists was completed, and she was offered 2 jobs, the first with a high salary in Cairo, and the second with a low salary in Abydos. So, where did Seti go? To Abydos. Of course, Seti arrived in Abydos, her former home, and upon her arrival, she felt a sense of peace, according to what she said in a press interview. Of course, Seti headed to the site of the ancient temple in Abydos, and she was fully aware of all the details of the temple. The chief scientist of the Antiquities Authority asked Dorothy to stand in front of special murals that had not yet been discovered. He blindfolded her to prevent her from seeing anything around her. The inspector asked her about the paintings. She identified their location and drawings exactly as if she was seeing them in front of her, which made everyone around her stand in shock. Do you remember the garden where the little girl Dorothy asked about the reason for her disappearance from the temple painting? So listen to the following. Dorothy confirmed that the temple had a garden and that she had met King Seti for the first time there and had even determined its location, although discoveries and excavations had not yet reached anything. More excavations at the site that Seti had determined proved the existence of the garden. Seti continued to live and work with archaeologists who credit her with most of the archaeological discoveries in Abydos in their writings and articles. In 1964, Dorothy reached retirement age and was transferred to Cairo, but she refused to move to live in Cairo and returned to Abydos. She was lucky to get an exemption from retirement and continued her work with archaeologists. In 1969, she retired permanently. However, after her retirement, Dorothy was leading tourists around the temple on long tours and providing them with accurate information about the temple, its inhabitants, and the previous life in it. Of course, as is the custom of the Egyptians, Seti was preparing for life after death, so she built her underground tomb with a door drawn on its walls, engraved with ancient Egyptian prayers to facilitate her transition to the other world, as was the case with her ancestors, the pharaohs. And also because she knew that she would not be buried in Muslim or Christian cemeteries because of her pagan religion. Death knocked on Seti's door on April 21st, 1981, after a life that began strangely and ended strangely. The Egyptian authorities refused to bury Seti in her prepared tomb for health reasons, because she was not mummified like the pharaohs, and thus the body would rot. In the end, Dorothy was buried outside the Coptic tomb, and there is no evidence of this tomb except a pile of stones. To end this story of Dorothy Eddy, or Seti, as she liked to be called, the British woman who lived her life believing that she was an ancient Egyptian priestess and who made many achievements in the field of pharaonic antiquities. According to the confessions of most of the Egyptologists who were her contemporaries, which sparked a strange controversy among psychologists, analysts, and scholars, some of whom confirmed the validity of what Dorothy claimed about her being an ancient Egyptian priestess. Most notably, the Egyptologist Hani el-Zaini, who met Dorothy in Abydos and was the only one to whom Dorothy confided in King Seti visits to her in dreams and in reality. He was one of the witnesses to her recognition of the wall paintings in the ancient temple and the discovery of the hidden garden. On the other hand, many researchers in psychology believe that what happened to Dorothy may have been the result of a disturbing obsession due to a fall when she was playing as a child, and the matter became more confusing for her because she was a contemporary of the spread of ancient Egyptian literature and stories of the pharaohs, which created in her a perception of the previous life and led her into a vortex in which she was lost between truth and fantasy. However, all this does not explain what Dorothy has reached in terms of knowledge of the secrets of ancient pharaonic life and its details.